Hello everyone, this is William Bruin again, all alone here at Nicholas Flat, my favorite place in SoCal, and here's why. There's actually an ocean overlook behind those rocks, and if you see part one of this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's at the very end of that video. So, quite beautiful, isn't it? So, this is where I do my full moon herb walks. And on the part one video, I talked about a few of the plants I talk about. A little bit about mugwort, a little bit about hummingbird sage, California everlasting, which we see some more of right here, I think. Yes. And oak trees, very common coast live oak trees. I was mentioning in one of my other videos that acorns are edible, but pretty much only when you process them. You have to get the tannins out, or tannic acid, which makes them very astringent, and too much of it can be hard on the stomach. I've eaten a few raw acorns before, nothing happened, but you don't want to eat too many. But acorns are a major food source in California and other parts of the world. So the acorns will be pounded on rocks, made into a powder. The powder will be rinsed a few times. There's many ways to prepare them, though. The oak trees here have unfortunately been burnt. There's been a fire here recently, but as you can see, many of them have been resprouting or regrowing fairly well. Some of them didn't make it, though. It's sad, but it's part of the natural cycle here. And since we're doing this walk near Halloween, it's time of the year when in many traditions, as I had mentioned on my other video, that this world and the spirit world are at their closest. It's also when in many parts of the world, including here, a lot of plants have already gone to seed. But the new growth is going to be sprouting up, often after the rains, which should hopefully be happening soon. And that will start a whole new cycle. So, I'm just walking right now. I was mentioning the everlasting has a lot of uses. You don't hear about it used as much anymore, but it's really makes a really pleasant tea. It's very relaxing. It does have a lot of volatile oils, so it is somewhat antimicrobial. Also good for my experience, for relaxing, for headaches. There's some dried up yellow dock. The root is the part that's usually used. It's another classic bitter. I was mentioning the mugwort earlier, which is also bitter. Bitters activate the functions of the liver and the digestive system. Yellow dock is often traditionally used for sluggish digestion and sluggish liver function, among other things. The leaves are very cooling, actually. If you chew on the leaves, rub it on your skin, it helps to cool down a hot condition, like say you get stung by stinging nettles, which it often grows near, or one of our ubiquitous yellow jackets that hang out around this time of the year. Actually, they get more aggressive this time of year in the fall. Chew on a yellow dock leaf, rub it on your skin, a lot like plantain, very cooling. Over down here, horehound. It's a very long history of traditional use as an expectorant. The entire above ground portion. You find horehound in a lot of cough lozenges, as some people say lozengers. It's got a long history of use. It's not native to here, but it does really well here because it also grows in the Mediterranean, where we have a similar climate. It doesn't act as invasive as a lot of plants, though, but it's a plant that is a non-native plant. Latin names, yellow dock is Rumex crispus. It's also called curly dock because when the leaves come out, they're kind of curly. Horehound is Marubium vulgare, a common horehound. This is a really interesting plant. This is Grindelia. You can see where there's still a flower down here. If I can find it. Here, let's try to get a good look at it here. This is it's a late bloomer, but it's actually very late for any flowers to still be out. When the flowers first come out, they often have white sap in the middle of the flower head. To me, that's the best part. It's actually very cooling. A lot of herbalists will say this is a warming herb. I have to disagree, at least in some aspects. It's got a very cooling sensation. And if you take any preparation of it, it tends to really cool down a hot, raspy sore throat or any kind of dry, hot respiratory conditions, or on the skin. You know, it has again, not making any claims on any of this, of course, but it has a long history of use as something that can help relieve poison oak. Now, it doesn't take it away, but it can sometimes take the edge off it, just cool it down a little bit. And this, again, is the sap that grows in the middle of the flower head. It's kind of earlier in the year, actually. Here we go. It's not there right now, but it's there earlier. The Latin name is also Grindelia. Several species here. There's Grindelia camporum, Grindelia robusta. I'm not exactly sure which one this is. I think it's robusta. They've all been used. They tend to grow in meadows. You know, they're in the daisy family, as you can probably tell. They're actually quite common in California, but they're not everywhere. They're kind of here and there. So there's a lot of it in Nicholas Flat, a lot of it in Topanga, but it's kind of here and there. So it is traditionally also used to cool down swellings and really kind of hot, irritated skin conditions, as well as internally for dry, raspy coughs and respiratory issues. So this is a whole cluster of plants here that have been used medicinally right in a really small area. So you can see how going on a full moon herb walk with me in Nicholas Flat, this very beautiful place, can be quite fascinating. I even tell dumb jokes sometimes. And as it's getting darker, you can just see how beautiful it is here. Look at that. Just don't tell everyone. A lot of birds here too, so if you're a bird nerd, lots of species of birds. You hear the red-winged blackbirds sometimes. They have sounds that one can definitely describe as trippy. I'm going to show you one more plant before I go. It's getting kind of dark, but I'm going to try to give you a good look at this. Vervain. Here we go. Still flowering. It's got these beautiful purple flowers. That's Western Vervain. Hope you got to see it. I know it's getting dark. The entire above ground portion has been traditionally used, like a lot of plants that have lavender flowers. It's used as a very relaxing herb, used to relax the nerves. It's also a bit of a diaphoretic. I forgot to mention that about mugwort. Mugwort also has those properties. They helps to sweat out fevers. Oh, here's a bunny. Not that afraid of me. Never mind the bear. Hey, Bun Bun. Look at that. So that's a bunny. Oh my God, it's getting really close. Really cool. So we got a little guest star here. Where was I? Talking about bunnies. Oh, Vervain. One thing I also forgot to mention about the hummingbird sage, which we talked about in the last video. Hopefully we'll come across some more before I exit. Not only is hummingbird sage relaxing, antimicrobial, it's also drying. Sages are kind of drying, a lot like my favorite herb, Yerba Santa. So sages have been traditionally used for congestive conditions. But sages are considered contraindicated if you don't want things to dry up. For instance, women that are breastfeeding, most herbalists will say sages are contraindicated because too much of it can dry up breast milk. I'm not using a little bit as a spice, I don't think, but using large amounts of it. And, well, the hummingbird sage is mentioned more in detail on my first video of Nicholas Flat. But his beautiful crimson red flowers, very sweet smelling. It's one of the nicest smelling aromas. If you come in the spring, smell the flowers and leaves, very, very pleasant. Oh, another bunny. Wow. So I think I'm going to let you all go, because I think it's going to be a while before I get to more hummingbird sage or other plants, and it's getting very dark. Well, there is some willows and ceanothus here, but I talked a lot about that in my first video. So I will talk to you soon. Please subscribe. I'll also leave my PayPal information, since I'm not doing as much of these in person. If you want to support my efforts, you can PayPal me. Please subscribe, like the video. I'm still getting used to doing this format, so please bear with me. I'll talk to you soon.